All right, welcome to another episode of PvR Sports. Today is Saturday, July 6, 2019. We just had a crazy week of free agency signing in the NBA. It's been a crazy 2 weeks because there were some trades before the free agency period hit, and then there have been some crazy signings and a lot of players, top players, changing teams, really changing the outlook on the NBA this season. We wanted to wait until everything went down, and the last domino to fall was Kawhi Leonard. And he decided to sign with the Clippers last night, 4-year deal worth $142 million. And the Lakers went ahead and signed their, key bench players. So, I guess we could go ahead and talk about it, discuss what teams won, what teams lost, which teams we think are going to, how teams are going to finish next year during the regular season, and the impact of these players signing long term, and what this does for the future of the NBA and the power structure. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. I want to ask you guys, what was your one takeaway from this free agency period? If you had to put it in like just a short 30-second, speech, what would you say was your biggest takeaway? I'm going to start with you, Liam.
My biggest takeaway is front office and culture matters. You look at the Knicks, horrible culture, biggest market. Everybody talk about the Knicks, but the front office is a mess, horrible culture. They will go out and just want to tank. It's just like a wasted year in Brooklyn. The little brother basically outdid them in free agency. They built a better culture and everything. So for me, front office culture matters. Same thing with the Lakers and the Clippers. So your front office matters.
All right, good. Neely, go ahead and take it.
For me, it's the player movement, man. The player movement is real. I think that's what's kind of the most exciting thing, like where are these guys actually going to play. What team they're going to end up on, kind of that loyalty aspect that we used to always hear, like just stay with one team and ride with that one team forever. I feel like that's out the door, and the player movement is real. It's showing you more player control. And honestly, like I said for a long time, I love it.
That's dope. Stan.
My biggest takeaway was the return of real parity to the league. Just not having just an odds-on favorite, or even if you got an odds-on, it's not that big a difference with odds. When I say odds-on, I get you always got Vegas who's going to have one team that they select as a favorite, but we got real parity returning to the league, and that free agency pretty much caused that. And so I'm excited about that myself.
My biggest takeaway from this free agent period is I think the players, it's a little bit of what you said, Neely, and a little bit of what you said, Stan. I think the players have taken control of the NBA from a standpoint on where they play. I think they put the GMs and executives on notice, like the biggest takeaway. Who do we think won during this free agency period? Take it away, Neely. Who you think won?
I mean, at this point now, I got to go with the Clippers. I mean, they already kind of had a squad, as far as some little rugged players that they were a superstar short to me probably last year of being in real contention. And they found a way to get two, regardless of what they did, trading away, kind of picks and stuff like that. They didn't trade away kind of, to me, the core grinders that they had on the floor with them. So even the players they brought in seemed like they got the style that we started to see with the Clippers last year. Kawhi and Paul George, both kind of rugged players. They're going to give you everything on both ends of the floor. So me, the Clippers kind of stole it. Now, had the KD injury not happened quite the same and he was fully back, it'll be huge competition between them and Brooklyn, but I feel like Brooklyn obviously pretty much going to lose a year. So it's hard to say that they won that battle as far as what team won free agency. But right now, I mean, barring injury to either one of those guys, because they've both had their past scares with injuries, but looking at it going in on paper, to me right now, the Clippers have kind of stolen this thing.
But what do you say about the Clippers giving away Gallinari, who was their top leading scorer last year during the playoffs, and I think during the regular season, as well as a good young point guard. I mean, yeah, they got Paul George. He just had shoulder surgery. He might not play the first 3 weeks of the season. Kawhi Leonard, last year he was able to make it through the season because he was able to miss 22 games healthy, load management, and that helped him get through. Hadn't played a full season in his career, and the most he's played is 73 games. So the Clippers are a good team, but in the West, you could go from first to seventh in a matter of a week. And Kawhi Leonard has to play back-to-backs. Got to bang on that body. You don't know how that shoulder's going to return for Paul George. I mean, we could say they won,
Right.
but are we looking at the context of everything?
And that's why I specifically mentioned the injuries, though. Like, I mean, honestly, they can kind of happen with anybody. Those two players do got injury history, but it's no different than Brooklyn getting Kyrie and KD, two players with injury history. As far as getting rid of Gallinari and the other dude whose name I recognize but don't fucking know, it don't matter. Like, I got two top 10 players in the league on this squad now. Regardless, I'm going to take that chance. Like, if whatever I got to do as far as these assets, I wasn't winning nothing with Gallinari, put it like that. The most I would have done was probably make it to the second round of the Western Conference. That's it. Like, that's a maximum, and that would have been a win for me. Now, the best I can do is win multiple championships. I'm going to take that any day.
Go ahead, Stan. I think you were about to say something.
Yeah, I'll say something, but it was I think that was Liam that was about to say something. I'll gladly jump in on this though. Man, I'm with Neely, man. It's hard to say that the Clippers didn't win free agency. It was definitely the Clippers. And to me, I mean, when we say win, if you're talking about immediately next year, of course, the Clippers. But even long term, man, I don't think Brooklyn is going to be far behind the Clippers. You know, when you go back, you know, in another 3 or 4 years and look back at, you know, summer 2019, you're going to go back and look and you're going to say, damn, KD and Kyrie on the team. They're going to make some finals, I think, you know, barring injury. Yeah. I think KD will come back relatively KD just because his game's so skilled and not predicated so much on athleticism. You know, when he gets healthy, he's still going to be 7 foot. Exactly. And he's still going to be able to shoot.
Still going to be a sharp
so
shooter.
I think when he comes back after a year, he's still going to be, you know, one of the cream of the crop players in the league. And so long term, I think the Clippers won, but I don't think Brooklyn going to be far behind them at all when it comes to that. With DeAndre Jordan being a strictly, you know what you're going to get, a rebound, a shot blocker, rim guarder, and that's it. And he don't try to be nothing else either. So that, you know, I think that's all going to fold, end up pretty good. But the Clippers with Patrick Beverly, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George, you're talking about defensive, perimeter defense, man. They're going to be able to your 1, 2s, and 3s going to have hell because they're going to be able to swap it on guys all day long. And, of course, you always
in the perimeter driven league. My bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be, you know, pretty ridiculous with them, man. Jerry West the GOAT. It don't make no sense how everything this dude touch turned to gold.
Yeah, he's done this multiple times. Lakers and Kobe,
the Lakers,
and Shaq, the Golden State Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies.
He's the one who brought the Memphis Grizzlies up.
Made it to the Western Conference Finals.
They were never championship, but he brought them to being perennial playoff team every year in the West. And, you know, of course, went over there to Golden State, helped construct this now with the Clippers. And man, so, yeah, I would say the Clippers definitely won it with Brooklyn not far behind.
All right. Go ahead, Liam. What's your thoughts on
it? Clippers won. I don't agree with the Brooklyn because if you look at the Clippers have guys already there that are defenders. Pat Beverly, Paul George is a defender. They got Montrezl Harrell that can come in and Lou. I look at Brooklyn, they don't have a dirty guy that can come in and defend. Also, too, the DeAndre Jordan deal to me was an over-signing. DeAndre Jordan hasn't been good at defense for the last 4 years. He was the worst defensive-rated center in the league other than DeMarcus Cousins. So I don't see how that's really helping them. Matter of fact, the young center that they got, that Allen kid, had one of the was top 5 in blocks and can run the floor and has a little offensive skill, can actually shoot. He's better than DeAndre Jordan right now. So I don't know why you spend that money for DeAndre Jordan unless you just want to foul Joel Embiid. So for me, Brooklyn, they have two shooters. Who's their defender? They're going to have to get points in the paint, because when I look at Durant, we forget about Durant before Golden State. But Kyrie is a Russell Westbrook that can shoot. That's pretty much it. He's ball dominant. He's gonna shoot the ball a lot. And if I look at their pieces around them and how they work together, they're not championship. I would go with Philly. Philly is better than them in the East. They did a better.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They traded Jimmy Butler and got Josh Richardson back, which fits better. He's a spot-up shooter and can defend. They got Al Horford, and then they're young. They're going to get better. So they got better. They got just as good defense, a better shooter, and then they got Al Horford. They also lost some minutes for Embiid on his off nights. I also look at Portland. They some big winners in free agency because of what they were able to do. They got rid of Evan Turner. They brought in Kent Bazemore. They kept Rodney Hood. So they are a little bit better as far as on the offensive end for sure. And I want to say that they got they got Hassan Whiteside as well. So Portland has gotten better. The Lakers, of course, got better with AD. Big winners is the Clippers. The Nets, I said they're not going to be as good, but they are winners because they basically won up the Knicks. And the Clippers are winners because they're the Clippers. If they're able to, anywhere in their franchise, able to get two players like this could change their whole franchise. So they winners that aspect more so than anything because they have completely changed who they are, what they are, all of that. So Clippers number one, along with a few other teams.
I'll say this, guys. You guys make good points. Clippers, Philly, Brooklyn. But I challenge you to look at when we talk about winning free agency. I consider free agency the trades, the draft, as well as the actual signing of unrestricted and restricted free agents. So when I look at it, for all of you guys, Philly just got better. Although they lost Jimmy Butler, they added Richardson, who is one of the great on-ball defenders, all defensive player. Tobias Harrison now is free to play like he played with the Clippers without Jimmy Butler dominating the ball and him having to share shots with Redick and Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons. So now he's going to be that 20-point-a-game scorer. Plus, they're in the East. And think about the East now. KD is hurt for a year. Toronto just became a lottery team, possibly. Then you have Brooklyn's not going to have anybody. The Knicks didn't do anything. So the only team they're going to have to go through is Milwaukee Bucks, Boston, who to me got a little worse, and they might have to go through. Miami is not going to be tough this year. I don't see Miami being tough. So I would say Orlando is going to be better because they signed their guys back, Terrence Ross, and then the big center. So if you look at those,
going to be better.
The Pacers, you got a good point there. I didn't think about the Pacers. Yeah, the Pacers are going to be better. So with that being said, hold on, Lynn. With that being said, when I see who won, I say Philly because Philly has made themselves probably a bigger favorite to win the East and come out of the East. It's probably it's Philly's to lose now to me because Milwaukee still don't have the shooting that's needed to beat a team like Philly as we saw against Toronto last year. What the Clippers did was say, hey, all right, Lakers, we could compete with the Lakers, we could compete with Utah, we could compete with all these top teams, Denver, we could compete with Portland. That's all they did. They didn't separate themselves. It's just on par now. What was going to happen is if the Lakers would have signed Kawhi Leonard, it was just going to be Golden State 2.0, which would have put the Lakers head and shoulders above everybody. But now the Clippers just made their signings and said, all right, now we're shoulder to shoulder with 4 other teams in the West. We don't know who's going to win the West. We don't know.
But you saying they made their signings like they just signed some players, though. Like,
Philly won.
The signings that they made are the players. Like, including, like, if you put Paul George into this free agency, like, if you would have said he was a free agent, you would have said they signed with KD being hurt.
Nearly, you and Liam last year was saying that Paul George wasn't even a top 13 player when I was arguing you guys down that he was.
Rodney, I ain't never said that. I've had Paul George in my top 10 for years, dude. I'm the person that praised Paul George, the Pacers Paul George. No, that's something, got to be somebody.
Maybe with me. I probably said that. Because
Yeah.
after that first year,
Now
after that
he
first
top
year,
3 since he signed with Clippers. Now he top 3.
after that first
He top 3 to me. Like, look at his season.
Yeah,
He was
top 3.
the MVP probably to the last 2-3
Yeah.
years. He was probably
proved
the
it
MVP to the last 2-3 months. I mean,
Yeah. Now the year before when he was with OKC, his first year, Paul George didn't fit it all. But this last year,
true.
he was. I mean, he's definitely a top 10 player. I mean,
Man, I'm gonna say I disagree about what y'all think about Philly. I don't think Philly got as I don't think they got as much better as y'all think they did. Jimmy Butler to me, was the closer that they needed. He had the maturation, the kill that they needed as far as an attitude. Man, I don't trust Ben Simmons. I don't trust as good as Joel Embiid is. He's so immature to me, and so. You know what I mean?
He's not healthy, Stan.
Know.
That's the only concern I got too.
Yeah, I think that's why the run up beat.
And immaturity. Her health and immaturity for Embiid gonna be a problem for me. Josh Richardson, decent player, not Jimmy Butler though. Jimmy Butler brought a level of chill. He was a closer for him. He was the adult in the room for him most of the time. But I guess Al Horford will take that spot over. You know, Al Horford would be the adult in the
That's
room.
That's what you're forgetting about. That's the key to this. You think about
but,
Al Horford last 6 years as a pro. Atlanta, Eastern Conference Finals twice. Boston, Eastern Conference Finals 2 or 3 times. Like this dude, if it weren't for LeBron, he might have made 3 or 4 finals. And he's not this great statistical player, but he's just key. He's just a key player. He's like one of those players that's there, you know.
But he ain't getting no younger. So
that's true.
Let me jump in on this. Josh Richardson is a better fit than Jimmy Butler because with Jimmy Butler, you got Ben Simmons off the ball. Ben Simmons off the ball is horrible. Now what you're doing is you're letting Ben Simmons play more point guard. Now he has the ball in his hands and he's able to deliver the ball more. So you have more catch and shoot players that's a defender. And you get Embiid down there that's going to do his thing because Embiid was 26 and 12 last year. And that's a year of another development year. And Lord forbid.
But I don't think they wanted Butler on the ball that much. I think he was more off the ball, except for as a closer, like Stan mentioned.
I think he did play off the ball a lot. Ben Simmons had the ball in his hands a lot.
No, Jimmy Butler had the ball in his hands. And then let's get this close. I could go up and pull up Jimmy Butler's numbers in the closing against Toronto. This dude was shooting 3 for 14 and was laying up bricks.
Kawhi had a couple of games like that too, though.
Yeah,
you can find a game or two like that from anybody.
Hey, but he still who had the ball in their hand? Who had the ball in their hand and made that bucket to tie the game up before Kawhi hit that game with a 3?
Yeah, he did do that.
Butler to have the ball.
He made that shot. He did. Stanley, he actually scored like 4 or 5 points in a row to tie the game. He was having a bad game.
Butler was hands down declosing. Yeah, he had the ball in the end because guess what?
Because Ben Simmons can't make a shot.
Giannis got more MVPs than Ben Simmons got made threes. So that's why Jimmy got the ball in his hand at the end of the game.
But listen, Jimmy Butler is horrible in the locker room. He's had chances where he had good talented teams. He didn't get them no further than 8th in the playoffs. When he had the Bulls, when he had some good talent with the Bulls, they
he was young then, and that was Derrick Rose team.
Hey, no, I'm talking about when Derrick Rose was pretty much done. His injuries was there, and it was
Liam, with that,
team.
Real quick, Liam, with that, what I was saying, Liam,
the Bulls had Todd Gibson.
Yeah, but real quick with that, Liam, you said that to me before. You got to think about it. The only real year Jimmy Butler had to really carry that team was the first year LeBron made it back to Cleveland, because the 2 years before, Derrick Rose was hurt and he became of age. He became a great player. And the first year LeBron was in Cleveland, he had Pau Gasol. He had a healthy Derrick Rose finally. He had Joakim Noah, who was still healthy at that time. But they ran into LeBron, and LeBron beat him in 6. I mean, in the second round.
Hey, y'all, listen. I mean, that's an opinion. Y'all may be on that, but I've never sold on Jimmy Butler because when I talk about fit, he's not a player. First of all, he's not that good of a shooter to be having the ball in his hands. You can lay off Jimmy Butler and he'll throw up some bricks. He's not that great of a shooter. Go check the numbers. He's not that great of a shooter. So he ain't that guy. Now, he has a lot of tenacity, a lot of guile. I mean, he's hard-nosed. He's a great defender. But as far as that guy for Philly, they need a fit. They need a guy that just don't need the ball, that can spot up, can shoot. Josh Richardson is a much better shooter. Check the numbers, and he can defend.
No, I
And
agree.
he's
I agree with you on that, Liam. That Josh Richardson is a better fit than Jimmy Butler
way
because
better fit.
because what you saw last year was Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harrison not kind of cannibalized themselves in that Toronto series, where they were taking turns to get off because you still got to get Embiid the ball. Redick still got to get his 8 3-pointers a game, and then you got Ben Simmons who's trying to find himself. Now I do see what Stan is talking about it. Although I'm still gonna stick with Philly as my big winner, Stanley does make a point. Ben Simmons gotta have that jumper at the beginning of next year. He gotta be able to shoot like a 10-footer, 12-footer, or something, man. He can't be all legs and dunks,
I
man.
think it was more of a name. Right. I think it was more of a name thing and the star power that got Jimmy up out of there. Like, they wanted to be Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons' team. Like, Josh Richards is a smaller name and he can have a similar skill set, so he can do it. They not going to clash with him. They probably didn't want Jimmy Butler as their one star. Like, even when I was begging for LeBron to go there, I kind of worried about that type of thing. Like, all right, LeBron, the superstar, these young boys want to be stars. How are they going to fit? Jimmy Butler was a person to me that's disposable. Like, yeah, we can get rid of him. But one more thing, though, because I don't want y'all to use that as the leverage for them winning or something like that. Because honestly, I Philly would have came out the East last year to me, like Rodney said, if Embiid wouldn't have been hurt. So I still think they coming out the East.
And Stanley, when you talk about closers, to me, this is just my opinion. Y'all might think it's crazy because we've never seen it before, only with Akeem Olajuwon. I think Embiid could be the closer because he's an 80+% free throw shooter. I think the biggest issue with big men closing games is they can't shoot free throws. And so you don't want to put the ball in their hand on the block because other teams will just like foul them and prevent them from getting up shots. But if you do that to Embiid, he can go to the free throw line and knock down those 2 free throws. So you got to play him straight up. And when you play him straight up on the block, he's going to win.
I'm saying you need Jimmy Butler to be the closer. Jimmy was the closer. That Embiid couldn't do it. For some reason, they felt more comfortable giving Jimmy Butler the ball as a team.
Because Jimmy Butler could create his own shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Butler
that's true.
Was a scorer. Man, another thing, when I think of closing, as much as skill set, man, a closer has a certain maturity, it's a certain calmness, a certain mindset that closers have. I don't think Joel Embiid has that.
Well, he could
get I
think he got that. I think Jim, he has that, but you did say something that made sense when you said maturity. Now that right there, that part, I can't disagree with. The maturity part, Jimmy Butler has that. I don't know if Embiid has that. You know, they have to develop that this year. So that part you are right about.
I say this, Philly gonna win. They just got too much talent not to win, man. They have too much talent.
There's more than talent. And listen, don't sleep on Boston because Kimber will.
Exactly. I was gonna wait. I know we had some more questions. I was gonna wait till it was another question coming up that I'm going, in my opinion, on Boston. I'll let y'all finish up this topic.
Okay, I think we had a good debate there. Let's talk about what team we feel lost. And it don't have to be the worst team, but it could be like, hey, this team could have been this good had they kept this player, signed this player, but now they're going to be this good. It doesn't have to be the worst team in the league. So who do we think lost this signing? Liam, I went to you last. I'm going to start with you first this time.
Okay, man, as far as losing in the free agency, of course, the New York Knicks, they was the losers, but that goes without saying. My biggest losers here, it wasn't nothing they could do, but they lost because everybody got better. The Houston Rockets, they lost. And my surprise loser, and it's not because of the talent on the team, and I hate to say this, my Los Angeles Lakers. It wasn't because they didn't get Kawhi. It's because the Clippers got Kawhi. Because the Clippers are down.
If he'd have stayed in Toronto, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't have cared. Yeah, it had to be Toronto.
My God. The Clippers can take over the Clippers. Like, that cannot happen, period. Like, now the Lakers, because they are the Lakers, and the front office is so bad, to be honest, they made the signings today that they had to. But they know they have to one-up the Clippers. They have to.
Yeah.
And I'm worried now because they may make a dumb, crazy move, but they may have to make it. They may have to make a play for Russell Westbrook. The Lakers, it's not that they're not contenders. They're still contenders, but they lost today because the Clippers now are going to get. I mean, they're going to get more power. And so, to me, it's for Houston Rockets, they lost. And Toronto, I guess they lost, but in the Lakers. Those are my losers.
Go ahead, Stan.
Of course, I mean, like you said, go without saying, the Knicks lost because the Knicks actually had some hope
Yeah.
on getting,
Zion.
some hungry players. They lost.
Yeah.
They lost by who they didn't get and who they did get. You know what I'm saying? Have themselves for Bobby Portis and Julius Randle, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They lost both ways, but they are perennial losers, so that's what losers do. They lose. But I also agree with Houston. Houston lost by not being able to get much, and apparently there's a lot of riffraff go around in there. Who else lost? Took real L's. My Lakers. I'm also a Lakers fan. I'm good. We kind of lost by default, but I don't think we totally lost because I still think we're gonna be a really good team. I think Danny Green was a good pickup, real good pickup, a good 3-and-D guy with some championship fortitude. You need that kind of makeup. It's kind of like the opposite of what we had last year with a bunch of young guys. Now we got some experienced vets. I wish we had a little more youth, but that's cool. I guess that's all as far as I felt like who really took L's.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you care about Charlotte, they probably took an L. Not
Charlotte just a walking in. Nah, Stan, I wouldn't even mention them. They just a walk. Jordan ain't even trying, man.
But Charlotte, well, let me tell you. Now I'll tell you what. This is why I heard somebody bring up that I actually got a point. All right, Kemba Walker probably ain't good enough to take you to the playoffs. If so, maybe just around in the playoffs. So why go into luxury tax to pay for that?
There you go.
You know what I mean? That's just business.
That's a good business
move.
When you put it like that, it's a good business move. But at some point, Jordan gotta try to win, man. He too much of a winner.
I mean, I'm saying if Kemba is all you got, how much winning you really gonna do?
Try to add somebody to Kemba.
So,
go get a Julius Randle. Go get a Julius Randle. Shit.
No.
And make that 18.
Listen.
All right, with Kemba Walker and Julius Randle, they ain't much more than Drew Holiday and Julius Randle. Right.
In the East, though. Stan. Think about it in the East.
In the East, okay, now that make a difference.
Go ahead, Neely. What was your biggest loser?
I mean, like everybody said, I think we all know the Knicks lost. They lost Zion. They didn't get KD, and they lost, like Liam said, to Brooklyn of all teams. They right there. So I think we all kind of know the biggest loser. But I do want to kind of, which I can't believe I'm saying, defend the Lakers just from this standpoint. Like, the only reason it don't look as bad to me is I do think Kawhi and Paul George wanted to go there. I don't think they wanted to play with LeBron, and I don't think it's because they don't like LeBron or don't want to go to his playing style or anything like that. In the Kawhi situation, I just don't think he wanted to completely dominate the league like that with no parity. Like, I really think he only chose against the Lakers because, all right, LeBron and AD are already there. Like, if I go over here, even though this is my squad and all of that, like, it ain't going to be fun. Like, I think that's the type of thing that Kawhi picked against the Lakers. So even though they lost directly to the Clippers, I think they still, I think they started to honestly get the luster back of what the Lakers used to be. Like, the Lakers was all the way there. Like, y'all can't be feeling bad about the Lakers now. And more than likely, to me, I honestly got them as the Western Conference Finals team at the very least next year and probably win the ring. So, I mean, the worst team in free agency was clearly the Knicks. I just don't think it was as bad as for the Lakers as Lakers fans probably feel today. Losing Kawhi.
Thanks.
It ain't about the.
Go ahead.
It ain't about the. Yeah, it's not about the. The team. Yes, the team. We contended, but when you lose any type of signing to the Clippers, because you have to think about this. The Lakers may be winning for 2 years. After 2 years, who coming? I mean, we don't have LeBron.
You got Anthony Davis still.
Yeah, but they got two. They got Kawhi and Paul George.
And when LeBron gonna replace him like that, I mean that's what you're supposed to do, replace that star.
But listen, it's more now. You have Clippers are an attraction, and then I want to this here, the front office. I mentioned this. Kawhi also. I listened to Chris Carter. It wasn't necessarily the super team joining. They talked about the trust with front office, who they spoke to, his medical team, what he could do with that. I'm looking at the Lakers today. Magic just said they had a backstabber. Brian Pelinka wasn't even in the damn thing. And then you have Jenny Buss. Who the hell wants to come to that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they blew all of it. Anthony Davis wanted to come. At the end of the day, like I said, with Kawhi and Paul George, you got 2 top 10 players in a league that starts 5 players at a time. So, hey, y'all can win it all.
I would say this for my biggest loser is a surprise. I'm going to call the Milwaukee Bucks out. They lost Brogdon, who is a really good upcoming player. They signed Middleton, who is almost like a bland player. To me, he'll be good with San Antonio Spurs. He's not going to put you on the top. He's not great at anything. He's just pretty good at a lot of stuff. Then you kept Bledsoe, and Bledsoe showed us last year in the playoffs that he's not ready for the spotlight. He didn't show up in big games at all. George Hill and Brogdon outplayed him in the playoffs, and that's who you're stuck with now. So you had a team that won 60 games last year, and to me, you just got a little worse because, yeah, you kept Lopez, you kept George Hill, you had kept some of those role players, but the East, to me, got better. Toronto lost everything, but Philly got better. Boston kind of stayed the same. You had Miami is a little better, and I feel like if they are going for a championship, they feel like I'll put it this way. To me, they went from a Eastern Conference Finals team to a potential Finals team to now second round potential if chips fall right. Eastern Conference Finals. I can't see them making the finals. They didn't pick up shooters. They didn't pick up, they didn't keep the right guys to me. They should have let George Hill go. So go ahead.
What if Greek Freak get a jumper?
If Greek Freak get a jumper, that's going to change the game. But right now, I have to assume that he doesn't have.
I think with or without a jumper, I still got them as the Western Conference. Them and Philly, I think, are the 2 teams that will hit everybody just because of the strength of Greek Freak. He the new LeBron in the East.
And the reason I'm saying that is because if they would have added shooters, they'd have been guaranteed the Eastern Conference Finals and a good chance, a 50-50 chance to make the finals. Now I look at them as a team where they'll make the second round, but they could get knocked off in the second round due to lack of shooting because now you got Bledsoe, you got a poor man's
the same team they had last year.
No, you lost Brogdon, who was a 15,
but Brogdon missed a lot of time too. I like Brogdon, but they didn't look no different with or without Brogdon, and they won 60 games.
He was
honestly, for the most part, looked like the best team in the East.
I ain't gonna lie, Liam put me on this guy, so I went back and researched.
I like Brogdon from Virginia.
I went back and researched and went back and looked at some of the stuff, looked at some of his games in the playoffs this year, and he, to me, on that team, he probably was the second best player at the Greek through the playoffs.
No, he's not better than Middleton.
No. I'm saying in the playoffs. No, overall, Middleton is the second best player. He's all-star. But I'm saying his performance in the playoff, guarding the guards for the other team.
But like you said, nobody else did nothing in the East but the 76ers, who was the other team that was going to be 1 or 2 with them anyway. Boston didn't get better than them. The Heat didn't get better than them. Like, nobody got better than them.
And they also
Toronto got worse.
And the reason they also lost, too, is they gave Middleton $180 million.
That's the market. They had to.
Yeah, somebody gonna get that check. Yeah, they got. Like
you didn't get better. Now you
really
stuck.
though. If they wouldn't gave him that, they really would have lost because he would have been gone and wasn't nobody coming to Milwaukee.
News, there you go. Superstars ain't coming to Milwaukee. You better keep what you got.
Right.
Draft you one.
So what you saying is, hold on, what you saying is saying like a win for them is to at least stay pat. A win for them. That's what you're saying.
The best we that seen come through Milwaukee is Ray Allen and probably Big Dog. Who that came through Milwaukee? Who going to Milwaukee?
Sam Cassell, Glenn Robinson, and Ray Allen.
I don't know. I get what you guys are saying because you guys are making sense, and I'm kind of reaching with this. And you guys are making more sense than I am right now because I'm a logical person.
Brogdon,
But
Brogdon is such a big pickup for Indiana.
For the Pacers, that's why I picked the Pacers as my dark.
And the Pacers gonna be a top. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, they're gonna be a top.
And Oladipo coming back right when Oladipo was finding who the fuck Oladipo was gonna be. Like,
Man,
the Pacers gonna be straight. Right.
What about now? We talk about the Lakers, and I want to address what you guys said about the Lakers losing because Stan and Lim, y'all said that. I don't feel like the Lakers lost. You guys make good points. I'm not gonna lie. And
Liam, they lost by default.
Yeah. And Liam, I would say this, like, I'm not gonna lie. It was a crushing blow when I heard he signed with the Clippers. Like, if he'd have signed with Toronto, I'd have been cool with that shit. I'd have been like, all right, man, he with Toronto, he in the East, we ain't worried about him. But when they said the Clippers, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and then he brought Paul George. It wouldn't even have looked as bad if it was just him. He went, and then Paul George chose not to go to the Lakers last year. Like, that's what made it look bad to me.
I was telling Liam this morning. I said I was waiting on it in Tampa. My wife knew I was waiting to see where he signed. So this morning, I was rolling around. I guess I was watching TV, and she was she was up doing something. She said, "Hey, did you see what Kawhi Leonard signed?" And I was like, "Nah." I said, "Where?" She said, "It says here to the Clippers." And I was like, "Nah." She said, "Yeah, it said the Clippers." I said, "Ah, shit." And then she said, "Yeah, him and Paul George." I was like, "Nah, Paul George played for Oklahoma." I was like, they probably just got the Clipper. They probably just got Kawhi. She said, "No, it says right here, Paul George to the Clippers." And I was like, whatever, man. So I go in there and look at it. Man, my heart dropped even further. Again. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Jerry West was doing something last night.
God damn it, man. Where you let Jerry West go? Jerry West was their best GM. Even when he was with the Memphis, he was their best GM because he gave them Gasol.
Yeah, they blew that one. They front office moves that sucked. I mean, I was saying that honestly. I as much as I be dogging Kobe, I was saying that towards the end. Like, they ain't getting that boy shit over there right now. Like, that front office is falling off towards the end of his
season. And it's Kobe's fault for moving that sorry ass boy for GM. Damn it, I'm so goddamn pissed. Damn.
But yeah, so we got our biggest losers in there. Let's talk about the sleeper signing. I think I know what most of y'all are going to say. Neely, we'll start with you on this one. Who's your sleeper? And this is a player. A player.
My sleeper is Brogdon. Like, as far as who I think a lot of people have kind of overlooked as far as what he'll do as an addition to a particular team. I think he went to a perfect situation where he can kind of be a semi-star, so to speak, but not shine too much because he ain't quite that anyway. So I feel like it's kind of Brogdon. Like, aside from, all the big names and big pieces that moved, I feel like it's Brogdon. I think his single addition will make the most impact to me, like pound for pound, I guess, if we put it in boxing terms.
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead, Stan.
Man, my sleeper, who I think it was Boston getting Kimber, man, and kind of like what one of y'all said earlier. To me, it's a fit thing. I think Terry Rozier leaving was good for them because I think he was kind of pushing to be a star. He wants to be a starting point, and I don't know if he's that. He definitely wasn't Kyrie. I don't think he's Kimber either. So I think that subtraction is going to help them as far as because they team really, and the way Brad Stevens coach really predicates on chemistry. You know what I mean? The way they play. So I think Kimber's gonna be a good fit for him. I think he's gonna be a better locker room fit than Kyrie was. I think he's gonna be a guy that can get buckets late in game and can get his own shot, similar to Kyrie, not quite as good as Kyrie though. I think Jason Tatum will be able to flourish, being kind of, if not the number 2, the 1A, 1B kind of player with him. So I think Boston was a sleeper as far as slight improvement. So that's why, and I agree definitely with Indiana getting Brogdon. That's going to be big. He kind of like a Tim Duncan-ish point guard, and I don't mean by dominance the way Tim Duncan, somebody the way his attitude, he's quiet, he's extremely effective. He was a 50-40-90 guy.
Yeah.
Perfect analogy. Perfect analogy.
Stan, let me ask you something real quick, Stan. Let me ask you something. You said Boston. Now, I get Neely and Brogdon, in Indiana because they're probably going to They probably going to improve. They probably going to be a top 3 team in the East next year. I see Kimba as a good signing, but I see Boston getting worse, man. I don't see him making them better. I don't see him making them better.
I think so.
You got Enes Kanter and you got Kimba. So you got scoring, but you lost a lot of defense. Because Kyrie can play defense better than Kimba.
You lost a little defense with Horford. So you lost a little defense with Horford. But, you didn't lose a lot of defense with Kyrie. You know what I mean?
He a little better than Kimba, though. Because he's 6'3".
And Gordon Hayward. And Gordon Hayward is going to be better in the second year coming off this injury, too.
Right.
You saw Gordon Hayward got the playing better.
I forgot about
He got better towards the end of the year.
I think Boston got worse, too. I think the only way Boston will get better is if Tatum takes that third-year step. Now, Tatum jumps in like, all right, I'm that star now. They might get better. Other than that, I think they got worse too.
I think Tatum gets better. I think Tatum gets better. I think Hayward is better this year. I think they got better team chemistry. I think the attitude's better. So that's just my opinion on my sleeper.
Yeah.
I'm
I feel you though.
They get better, and you got to remember the Boston with IT. That team with IT with good chemistry. Kimba is a bigger IT. When
that's true.
Boy is playing great ball, he didn't have Kyrie holding the ball. Kimba could come off screens, pretty much what IT did, and they were close to winning 60 games.
But now, some of them teams in the East now, I don't think IT has been able to beat some of them teams now.
And Kimba, damn near got Kyrie handles. Not quite Kyrie, don't get me wrong, but Kimba got them handles. Kimba can get open on his own too, and come off them screens like he just said, like IT. So
yeah, but they lost. To me, it's losing. If it was just Kimba, they lost Horford too. Like we gave Horford quite a bit of credit for what Horford is. They lost both of them.
But listen, their issue last year wasn't the players and how they contributed. It was the chemistry with the team and the dynamic with the team. You eliminate all the locker room cancer that they had, and they could just come out and play. That's still a top team. We just forgot about that because Kyrie.
I agree.
You bring in Kimba, and think about with IT, they didn't have these players. He got better players.
Y'all overranking Kimba, man.
Yeah, at the top, like
I think you underrated.
It's not Kimba.
At their most, they could be a top 3 seed. They could be the 3rd seed in the East.
Here was the key with Kimba.
That's by default with Toronto following.
Here was the key with Kimba to me. Go ahead, Stan.
You're just looking at the player. You're just looking at the player. I'm talking about how the team would play.
That's what I was. Hold on, Liam. That's what I was just about to say. When they said they're gonna get Kimba, and I thought they was gonna sign Horford back, I was thinking like, okay, Horford can protect Kimba on the back end, so they'll be good. He'll give you the scoring Kyrie was giving you. He's not a selfish player like Kyrie, so the team can still hold pat where they are, top 4 team in the East. My issue is you lost Horford too. That was your best defensive player in your front court. Then you replace him not with a DeAndre Jordan, not with a shot blocker or something like that, with Enes Kanter, the worst defensive center in the league. That's just a bad combination, dog.
And this where drafting comes in. They drafted a guy from Texas A&M a year ago named Robert Williams, who was like top 3 in the nation in blocks. That's all he do, block and rebound.
Yep.
And they did sign Taco. They did sign Taco too. It's a big buck.
Everybody care about Taco.
Yeah,
Taco gonna be straight, man. Y'all hating on Taco, man. Taco gonna be straight.
Taco, they gonna be able to move. They gonna be munching on Taco. You can't move.
You know what my sleeper draft pick was, right? Bo. That's my sleeper. Like Bo is my sleeper.
I don't think Bo's gonna make it either.
You heard of a guy named Thon Maker?
Right.
Yeah,
Bo's gonna break.
Yeah, that's Bo.
Bo's gonna break.
Thon Maker got some. Yeah.
He said Bo's gonna break. But Kimba, man, I would say this with Kimba. I agree with y'all that he gonna replace the scoring of Kyrie, but I just think they defense gonna suffer, man. Like they gonna be good around the perimeter because you got Smart, you got Brown, you got what's his name? Your boy Neely from Duke, Jason Tatum. Yeah. Gordon ain't a good defender, so then you're gonna have Gordon,
Whoa.
Kimba.
I got two
I got 2 on-ball defenders, and I have a big in Robert Williams, who's a shot blocking rim protector. Jaylen Brown 6'8" and can defend. Marcus Smart is defends the 1, 2, and the 3. What you mean?
What are we saying is good for Boston then? Like what are y'all calling they're good? Are y'all saying like you got them as potential Eastern Conference championship?
They are contenders.
I think they're a top 4 team. I
got them probably 4.
Hell no. You crazy too, Neely. They'll be like 7 seed.
Philly, Milwaukee.
Okay, yeah, count them out. Philly, Milwaukee, who else?
Boston.
No.
Exactly.
No.
Right.
Boston,
Philly, Milwaukee, Indiana, 3rd.
Yeah, the Pacers.
Orlando, 4th.
No, I ain't got it. Yeah, they as good as Orlando.
Orlando,
Nigga. I don't know why you brought Orlando out.
I'm telling you.
The Nets.
Yeah, all right. Well, maybe Brooklyn. I give you that. Maybe Brooklyn.
The Nets.
Kyrie.
Yeah. So you
but
got
I would think
Brooklyn.
I think Boston would be better than Brooklyn. They would be like a 4th seed.
Y'all are really that low on this team. Just went to the Eastern
Conference.
Finals.
You're not putting them over Philly, right? Or
no, I'm not putting them over. I'm not putting them over Philly or Milwaukee. But
right, so it ain't that outlandish what I'm saying.
So we all hold on. Let's do it this way, Stan. We all agree on the top 3: Philly, Milwaukee,
no, we agree on the top 2.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana.
I put Boston. I put like this.
Indiana.
Yeah, Boston and Indiana would be a toss-up to me. I was just trying to see what they was putting.
Indiana, Boston. I put all them in the same clump right after Milwaukee and Philly. The next.
Why y'all so sleep on Orlando, man? Y'all know Orlando made the playoffs last year, right?
Hey, right.
And they got
Right.
How much better did they?
How much better did they get? Who they get?
They signed their players back. Usually they lose players. They got Terrence Ross back. They got Aminu. They got Michael Carter Williams.
Stop talking about Orlando.
Hey man, boys, talking
that boy looking at the roster sheet. That boy looking at the roster sheet. They got Aminu. They got a coach. I mean, no.
Stop talking about Orlando.
Y'all all right. Just like with Fields, Neil. When Orlando, I'm gonna say this: Orlando gonna be at least a 6 seed next year. All of y'all gonna eat.
No, they not.
All of y'all gonna eat.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Miami will be better than them with Jimmy Butler.
Right. Listen. Now let's look at this too. We talking about Pacers. Pacers lost Bogdanovich. Okay. Boston is better than them. Tatum. I'm looking at the players on just by roster. Kimber, Tatum, Brown, Hayward is the better 4 players. Smart. Those are better players than Indiana got. Indiana got Oladipo, Brogdon. And Brogdon ain't
Miles Turner.
Let me ask you something. Do you agree?
Miles Turner turning it on. They'd be third though. They got them where I put them. I was just trying to see how good y'all was saying Boston was
I can't say 3rd. Y'all convinced me of 4th, 5th.
Man, that shit can't be that big of a difference. You probably think Tatum. You probably damn think Tatum better than Oladipo right now.
Y'all know I'm gonna be an asshole, man. I ain't gonna give you
right. It's a devil advocate ass.
Hey, Lil said, bro, stop saying Orlando on everything. Stop.
What you say? Somebody gonna listen to this and be like, man, that nigga said Orlando, man. Turn this shit off.
That boy thinking about Disney World or something.
Man, boys be reaching, boy.
Yeah, that boy thinking about Disney World. He just saw a Super Bowl commercial to Orlando.
Hey, okay, speaking of reaching, what team do y'all feel was reaching the most with some of the signings? Let me go first on this. Because I ain't getting a chance to go first on anything. I would say, not Utah, Stan, but I'm going to say, I want to call out the Lakers, but I hate to do that. But I'm going to call the Lakers out because they gave Danny Green $15 million. I feel like they should have gave him 10 to 12. They gave who they give? They gave KCP and JaVale McGee $12 million together. So you took up $12 million worth of cap space in those 2 guys, which I feel like you could have got JaVale for probably $3 million at the most, and you probably could have signed KCP for 5 or 6 if you'd negotiated hard. And maybe it was just, hey, ain't nobody else out there. We want 12 now. You know, we want 8 and 4 now because we know you don't have anybody else. But I think with those 3 players, to give those 3 players what, $27 million, that was a big reach for the Lakers. I feel like they could have saved at least $5 to $7 million out of that to go get a Marcus Morris and go add a Avery Bradley to that dynamic. So that's my reach.
Man, I'll say about that, like, you got to spend, what, like 90% of the cap that you got to spend? Yeah. You know what I mean? So the money had to get spent. And they all short deals. They ain't like these was 4 or 5 year deals or something like they did with Maj Goff and Lou Dang a few years ago.
Yeah.
These short 1-2 year deals, I ain't really tripping about them being overpaid like that for a little, for a small amount of time. It happens. I just think they at the point now where money just got to be spent.
I got you.
So
I'm thinking about I'm thinking about them squeezing 2 more players in there. If they could save a few million here, that you could squeeze Marcus Morris in and squeeze Avery Bradley in for probably $3 or $4 million. Had you not paid them, those 3 players, $27 million. That's what I'm thinking about. But you make a good point, Stan. You know, they short deals. I think a couple of them are team options next year. So I think Danny Green is the only one that's a player option for the second year.
I kind of got 2, man. Like, I think it's the clear loser, like everybody, say not to just keep jumping on them fools. But the Knicks, obviously, they signed Julius Randle, Taj Gibson, Portis. They paying these boys, Reggie Bullock. Wayne Ellington. They paying all them. But so aside from kind of the most glaring and obvious, I feel like Golden State with the D'Angelo Russell trade was a reach.
Man.
Yeah, because I'm like, man, I don't even know how them boys will really play together like it. Now, if he can shoot like they need him to shoot, and they just gonna run screens, damn, they run a college Duke offense, shooting threes all game, and that's literally what they're gonna do. Maybe. But I don't really see them 2 small guys contending like that, even to the level that Dame and CJ maybe contend just by the way they play together already, even though both of them probably, Steph obviously better than both of them. But, I feel like the Warriors, but to me, they got a home run kind of in getting Collins down to sign over there for the minimum. Like, to not pay him nothing, honestly, him basically just come and bring that type of athleticism. He like a younger JaVale McGee down there for him. So, but that signing of D'Angelo Russell, Willie Camerstein.
Okay.
They signed him at like a minimum.
How much did they give him? Let me see.
Yeah, I think it was
like the vet minimum or something. It was something little.
Yeah, I think it was like $2.6 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave him.
He was perfect for the Lakers.
They got Looney back. I'm surprised they got him back. I thought he was gonna leave. They got him back for $15 million. That was a reach with D'Angelo Russell. Go ahead, Liam, with your reach. Who was your reach?
I don't think the Warriors was reaching. What the Warriors did with D'Angelo Russell, they went and got value. Once they knew Brooklyn wasn't going to sign him, was going to let him be unrestricted, they signed him in the hopes to trade him. So what is saying that they don't even think he even play for them. They just got him for value to trade. They want to make a move to Minnesota for Andrew Wiggins. So you just have to see on that.
That was reaching too.
They should have brought Harrison Barnes back, man.
Right. I said he was a reach too.
But
you put him back and went further to the back of the freeze and grab this man.
But mine would probably be the Jazz with the signing of Bogdanovich. They gave him $73 million over 4 years.
Yes.
That he ain't that good.
Yeah.
He ain't better than Joe Ingles on that team because Joe Ingles can defend. So I think that was a reach. Brogdon kind of reached, but I get it. Now I would disagree with y'all on this. I think the Knicks didn't make bad moves because they're not long deals. They got that's more competitive because one thing they had to do, they had to at least look like they're trying to win now. Julius Randle was a 20-9 guy.
You're right about that because I'm looking at everything here real quickly. Julius Randle 3 for 63, Bobby Portis 2 for 31.
All they did is like 3 to 2 year deals. They'll be out of them quick.
Reggie Bullock 2 for 21, Taj Gibson 2 for 20. Yeah.
So short deals, and then also too what it does for them, it gives them, instead of now Dennis Smith can kind of play in a role where it's more natural. He could come in, develop a little bit better because you got some veterans there, and you got somebody that he could kind of give it to on the pick and roll. They still have Kevin Knox, so they have some young pieces. What they did was basically just said, let's just operate like a small market team. Let's just get some players in.
They look like they decided that we gonna stay in the lottery. We got to spend this money somehow, and we can still try to get a good draft pick too.
Yeah, and then too, if Randall and them don't work out, you have trade assets. Yep. So now when we're looking at that last year in the deal, I can say, hey, we're not getting nobody. Let's go out. Somebody available for a trade. We got the salary matches and some assets to give the other team.
Yeah, that's true.
So I didn't think that was a reach. Everybody else, I think, was pretty much status quo. I disagree with the Lakers because once they lost Kawhi, they couldn't take no chances. Dallas Mavericks was going to offer Danny Green some money. They had to make sure they get Danny Green. He was very important.
They had to make sure they got him, but man, $15 million, I didn't think that much. I thought it would be 10 to 20.
Well, hell, everybody else getting 19, 20 million.
How much did Reddick get? Reddick got like 12, right? I would consider him on par with Reddick. I would consider him on par with Seth Curry.
Reddick don't play no defense.
Yeah, his D gonna be more important.
But for what he lose in defense, he give you back in scoring because he averaged 18. What's the name on the average? Like 9 or 10. Danny Green.
Just go get Corbin. Get Corbin and add to it. Both of them.
And I want a big moments guy too. Danny Green don't shrink up. Danny Green play ball.
Man, he had one every finals he in.
Every finals.
One game. He had one game where he gonna hit 5 or 6 of them things on you. Yeah.
That's why I really hope the Lakers. That's why I really hope the Lakers end up with Iguodala too.
Yes, that would be if they could get Iguodala because they got your boy cooked, Liam. Soon as you text me and said, as soon as you talk to me and said they should get cooked, they signed him like the next minute. Yeah, they signed Quinn Cook like the next minute. So they got some shooters. Yeah, they got some shooters, but Stan, I think the next two pieces that they would need to me would be if they could somehow get Iggy, Kyle Korver, and then the one last piece would be I just read they got like $7 million left after their signing. If you could get Morris, if you could get Morris with that $7 million, maybe just offer him a second year. Maybe say, okay, instead of 1 year deal, we'll give you 2 years with a player option. You know.
Hey, y'all, I know who we forgot to mention in the biggest losers though.
I'm thinking you're gonna think who I'm saying. Go.
Yeah, DeMarcus Cousins.
No. I was gonna say Russell Westbrook. I thought you was gonna say Westbrook.
No, DeMarcus Cousins. They lost a job.
Yeah. Would you take that $7 million and go get Cousins, or would you get Marcus Morris? Which one would y'all get?
I get Marcus Morris and tell Marcus Cousins take this minimum. You ain't got no Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would too. And then and go from there. DeMarcus Cousins had a contract from the Pelicans of 2 year, $40 million. He declined it and signed that deal with the Warriors.
Yeah, sure.
That's the worst. Yeah. Go get your money, especially if you know you're coming off an injury.
But a lot of people have been betting on their body. Yeah, I feel bad for dude, man. He made the wrong choice.
He definitely did. He almost like Isaiah Thomas. I feel bad for Isaiah Thomas. I almost wish somebody would just say, man, he go $50 million, man. Like,
right, man. Right when all the money started getting good, he missed out too. That's crazy.
Yeah.
If he was a free agent that year, he won MVP. Dude would have signed like $140 million deal, like Conley. $150 million deal.
Yep. Russell Westbrook a loser too.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
He is. He is in this thing.
Russell Westbrook a loser by style of basketball play.
Yeah. Another top 10 players running from you. Another top 10 players running from you.
So let's kind of jump. Kind of switch it up a little bit. What are you guys predicting will happen to Russell Westbrook? They're obviously not going to keep him in Oklahoma. Where do you guys see him going? What do you guys think the best fit will be? And how soon do you think it will happen? Go ahead. I'm gonna start with you, Liam. Go ahead.
I don't think OKC really are been hold on trading him because small market, they gotta sell tickets, he's a draw. So they may not just be keen on dealing on him. And he seemed like he don't want to go ask for a trade. But best fit for him, it's teams that are Minnesota probably would love to have a point guard to go with Towns. They'll take that chance because they're a small market. They ain't getting no free agent.
the Knicks probably are looking like, hey, we give you Dennis
I
Smith or
was just
Kevin Knox.
about to say that would be the perfect spot for Russell Westbrook. If you could,
It wouldn't be perfect for him.
shit, think about this, Liam. I need to stop
The
clapping
Knicks
while
too.
recording.
If he goes to the
But
Knicks
think
right
about
now,
this
hey,
shit, dog.
That'll be the perfect thing for the Knicks. It wouldn't be the perfect thing for Russell Westbrook.
No.
Right.
Hear me out here. Hear me out here, guys. Y'all can respond to what I say. Hear me out here. Russell Westbrook with the New York Knicks. If you could just trade like a Dennis Smith or just somebody that's not a real great player, I wouldn't give them my draft pick in 2020, but I would say you could have my draft pick for like 2022 or some shit like that, like move it down the road and get Russell Westbrook, and you add him with Julius Randle, with Knox, with the young RJ from Duke. You add him with those players. I think they'll make 7 seed in the East. I think they'll make 7
Him and
seed.
RJ, damn near the same player.
right.
He's just more athletic than RJ.
Come to think about it, I'm with Stan, but then I one up.
He's not making the playoffs in the West, dog. He's not.
It ain't good. It ain't good
Nah.
for the Knicks. Well, Russell Westbrook, he don't need to go to a team that got young players and they trying to develop. That would be bad for them. What he needs to do is he needs to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I got to win a championship. And the best place, come on, LA. He needs the Lakers, because right now, this hold on. I don't like his style of play, but what I'm saying is this. He's 31. He hasn't won. He has to look and say, you know what, I'm good with going to being a second or third fiddle.
No, he not though.
He older than
KD. You want him to go change. Like the thing that people don't like about Russell Westbrook is exactly who he is, though. I don't think he's gonna change to say that.
But what is his game? What can Russell Westbrook do without the ball in his hand?
No, well, I'm not saying what
Tell you to give me the damn ball.
But he can still exactly. No, I've seen it with OKC way back now. He would come down off a pin down and catch it at the free throw line and go in and drive. I mean, way back. He would play without the ball some. It's just recently he got like this. But what I'm saying is with him, he doesn't have to come in and give 27, 28. Now, this up to Russ because he would have to realize that he's trying to win a championship. I got LeBron. LeBron going to have the ball anyway. That he could come in and he could play within a team concept and win a ring. And I like the idea that he may have something to prove. All right? And when you have something to prove,
they didn't want to prove he can get triple-doubles.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, Liam, I just can't. Liam, I'm trying to see that, dog. I just cannot see it, Liam. I can't see without LeBron trying to smack that boy. And Brody might whoop LeBron because he's tough as hell. Like, that shit crazy, man. Like, I just can't see LeBron playing with somebody that with that low IQ of the game. Don't get me mistaken, Westbrook is great.
That could somewhat play, I put him on Milwaukee squad. Like, not that he make them all that much better, but he's a better version of what Bledsoe can do. Now, if you could tell him basically, like, you come here, obviously we got Greek Freak here too, so you ain't going to have the ball quite as much. Then I think, Eric Bledsoe, my bad. Then I think that would be kind of the only team that he can go to and still potentially win some. Anywhere else, I think he damn near be a candidate.
Man, when I saw dude.
No, it's a little bit more. It's you. It's a 1A, 1B there. You know you clearly third with the Lakers. Like, nigga, you get the ball when we give it to you.
Hey, I'm going to tell you like this. When I saw him this year, beginning of the year, he was kind of deferring to Paul George.
Yeah.
Man, it ate him up. Towards the end of the year, he went back again on Russ.
And in the playoffs, right.
Yeah, he was like, man, fuck this shit.
Right. And this is Paul George balling. Paul George is looking like MVP of the league at the time, so ain't no reason for you to turn into that dude. Right.
I think if the Knicks want to make a splash and save face, they will trade for Russell Westbrook next week.
This ain't about saving face.
They just gonna be happy that they got a top 10 player in the league, Liam. That's what I'm saying.
Russell Westbrook ain't no top 10 player in the league.
Right.
Not anymore. You're right. Not anymore.
Let's get that right.
Second of all, he doesn't help them in no way, shape, or form. He's gonna kill Barrett growth. He's gonna kill Knox growth. He ain't gonna have y'all contending. So you have all this money, then you ain't gonna be able to unload his contract.
What he got left on his deal? Maybe 2 years.
I would say he ain't got but like 3 years left on his deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll sell some tickets.
He
in New
fit
York.
that formula you mentioned. Yeah.
He'll sell some tickets in New York. Sell some jerseys.
I mean, New York sell
He
tickets.
would, but to me, he would slow R.J. Barrett down. I think R.J. Barrett is Russell Westbrook, honestly, damn near. Like, the way he plays, it's damn near the same. He's just not as athletic. It actually might be.
But we ain't even got to talk about selling tickets. Shit, they sold tickets last year with the trash they had on the floor.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Knicks fans
Russell
don't be that.
Westbrook bring a different dynamic, man. You get him
What
in
he
there.
brings? What's the dynamic?
He brings them some excitement around. They have some excitement like they did when Melo came.
When Melo first got
Yeah,
right.
when Melo came, they be excited.
Well, damn, damn the excitement. We ain't getting nowhere. We're not helping ourselves as an organization.
But you need some of that.
You need some to the Lakers and let them blow the Lakers up.
like you was saying, reputation and popularity means something. You can't completely let it shift to Brooklyn, and then Brooklyn starts to reshape the time.
But Brooklyn still gonna beat your ass with them or not, so it don't matter.
Yeah, they gonna beat your ass, but
they gonna beat you.
We ain't necessarily talking about on the court.
Yeah.
But even off the court, because once Russell Westbrook got one season and he blow it in the playoffs, then I'm telling you, all that excitement gonna leave.
But if you get to the playoffs, there's no excitement for the Knicks. When the last time they get to the playoffs?
But look at this. OKC will let Russell Westbrook do that because that's all they got. OKC is so happy. They're a small market. New York will light Russell Westbrook up after fucking up in the playoffs.
Yeah, but he got the skin to take it too.
But you don't think they would just be happy to get to the playoffs? They ain't been there so long.
No. They're not just happy. They want a team that can actually compete. They'd rather do this than to actually just go to the playoffs and just lose.
Shit, I bet they would. Man, I bet they would. Man, they would kill for a first round out.
Yep, I bet they would too. That's what I'm thinking, Liam.
They would.
You think about
they
this,
losing
Liam.
in the lottery too. They probably once the lottery changed, the lottery system changed. Yeah, they kill to go to the playoffs.
You think about this, Liam. The Lakers. If I was talking to you guys as Lakers fans and some of the other fans from the Lakers 5-6 years ago, y'all have been like, man, if we ain't making it to the finals and winning a championship, we don't care. 6-7 years later after losing, y'all like, hey man, let's make it to the Western Conference Finals, man. That's what I'm talking about.
At least getting the playoffs.
And think about it. Y'all won in 2010. New York ain't won since 70.
Since 73.
Right. But if I don't win the championship, I don't want it.
Yeah.
If he's gonna kill our cap where we can't really do nothing to win and win, there's no point.
Yeah, exactly. I get you. But this what I'll say here, man. Russell Westbrook, I think he's gonna get traded. I think we all agree on that he's gonna get traded. So with that being said, I just think it's just a matter of where he gets traded. Minnesota would be a good fit because I think he would make them a playoff team immediately.
I don't know.
So what I was going to say, I want to ask you guys 2 more questions real quick before I let you go, man. It's such a good conversation. The first one I want to ask you guys is this: is one is dealing with free agency, one is not. KD, I thought Kawhi Leonard, everybody was talking about this week how if Kawhi Leonard went to the Lakers, it would be a quick move. It would be I said quick move. It would be a weak move. It would be like weak like what KD did. Not as bad because he already has 2 championships, so it wouldn't be as bad, but it would still be a weak move with 3 all NBA players on one team. Now that Kawhi has decided to go to the Clippers instead of joining a super team, is KD move still the weakest move ever, or would you put what LeBron James did in the same category or above it, or what? Do you think that, and the second part of that, do you think that another superstar will make the decision that KD made? Even though he won championships, he still seemed miserable with those championships, like he wasn't happy with them. And now that a lot of news is coming out, he wasn't happy with him. He actually felt like that Golden State treated him as if they did him a favor. That's a long ass question. So basically, Was it still the weakest move? If not, what was the weakest move? And do you think another superstar will make that move in the future? Go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, that's one that's long ass question. Two, yeah. I done came to the grip though. All right, first of all, when it came to the LeBron and the KD moves when they happened, I never really considered them really weak. My only thing was, if you do consider one of them weak, you got to consider both of them weak. You can't be like, oh, KD did it weak because that team was 7-3-9, and LeBron didn't do it because he was weak, blah, blah, blah. If you think one of them weak, in my opinion, you should think both of them weak. But that was basically the beginning of it. Now I done came to the grip that that's just the way the league's going to operate now. Yep, it's going to be another team. It's going to be another star to do it. Eventually, you know what I mean? It's going to be another star to do the same thing, to go get them some rings, to go get their jury, and it's fine. That's just the way the league going now, man. It's just the evolution of it. So I'm fine with it. I ain't got a problem with it. Like I said, I didn't think they were super weak when they done it back in the day. No, I'm a Laker fan. I'm a Kobe fan. It's that level of loyalty that I like. But I didn't think LeBron was weak for doing it. I didn't think KD was weak for doing it in the beginning. It just necessarily wasn't my cup of tea. But now I done come to the grip that that's just the way the game is going to be now. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be another star that end up going to the Clippers, or they come play with the Lakers, or you know what I mean? There's going in here they can do that, get the bread and the jewelry. So I mean, that's just the way. I think that's just the way it's gonna happen.
Okay.
You know
so
you
do think another player would do it in the future? You don't think Kawhi made it?
In the near future.
Because the reason I'm asking that before Neely and Liam go is because if you think about it, every player creates a trend. LeBron James deciding to go to Miami after Bosh and Wade had signed was a trend to say, hey, it's now okay for us to join other superstars versus being traded or being picked up in free agency with other superstars. Then you had KD to do it. You had Paul George and Carmelo Anthony to do it, although it didn't work out. You had Chris Paul and what's name to pick up Carmelo. So you had some teams to try to do it because LeBron made it okay. Now that Kawhi said, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to go and try to compete and go with one superstar and do it that way. Well, it might create a trend where players don't feel like it's okay again.
He did orchestrate it to get him another star there, though, too.
He did do that.
I mean, it's still the same thing. From what I read, he requested that, told the Clippers that, you know, if y'all can acquire Paul George, it's all good.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. So you still think that'll happen. Go ahead, Neely or Liam, whichever one of y'all jump in.
I think it's both. Like I definitely think it'll happen again. I think it's just kind of from the circumstance of somebody's gonna get tired of losing. Like once one of these combinations that we're seeing now starts to be the dominant combination, like say Kawhi and Paul George just start running through the league, somebody gonna feel like, man, we ain't got enough to beat them. Like, and then somebody gonna go to a team that already got a couple of players. Like, I think it's pretty much inevitable to happen just from, you know, the standpoint of, all right, now we got to try to win. I don't think the NBA will get to a point where, you know, literally every other year is somebody else winning. Like, at some point, a dynasty is going to be formed. It's like the ultimate league of dynasties or runs and stuff like that.
So basically, you're saying it's supply and demand, Neely. It's like with Golden State Warrior, it was the demand, like, man, you got to have 3 stars to beat these 4 or 5 great players on this team. Now that KD is hurt.
That's why I do feel like the shift with KD doing it was weaker than LeBron's shift. Like, I mean, I know Stan was saying he can't say that one is necessarily weaker than the others. Like, when LeBron did it, and I'm sure I'm going to have my LeBron bias in it because I'm a LeBron fan. But when LeBron did it, I felt like it was out of LeBron never had anybody to play with, then I think it just kind of ended up being overkill with Bosh coming.
Yeah.
Like, if LeBron and D-Wade was just teaming up, I don't think it would have looked as bad. But then, all right, now Chris Bosh then came too, and at the time, you know, Chris Bosh top 10, top 15 player in the league. So I think it looked bad then. Obviously, KD had enough on his squad. We damn near just beat these niggas. They just won 73 games, best team of all time, and I joined that team. Like, that's what made it look bad. Like, if LeBron had went to Boston, then I would have felt like LeBron and KD's situation was similar. So that's why I kind of differentiated. But I do think a player like somebody that's another, because LeBron did it out of the necessity of rings. That's when that conversation was like, you got to win championships. All right, your numbers look good, but you ain't won. Like, I think somebody like a Russell Westbrook would probably be desperate to do it somewhere late in his career. Like, hey, y'all, let me come over there and team up with y'all. I still ain't got no damn ring. Like, I think it's going to happen.
What about you, Liam?
It just depends on the player. Some players are just not, they're not built to that. They'll do it like when they older and become a role player. But, some players, it depends. The league is going towards that. Younger players have said they're not like that. Greek Freak says it's not like that. Devin Booker says that. But that's easy because, of course, they pay you a nice little contract right now. And you ain't really have no choice because they can match the offer. So it wasn't like going anywhere. It'd be interesting to see if Greek Freak hasn't had a ring in Milwaukee and knows no free agents are coming.
Right.
Devin Booker, I think, actually has a better chance.
Damian Lillard just proved that he wouldn't do it. He signed back with Portland for the
Yeah,
rest of
right.
his prime.
Yeah,
I do think it has a lot to do with the type of player, too.
Yeah.
Do you think what about the weak move, Liam? Do you think KD was a weak move, the weakest move ever? And do you said you think it will happen again, but do you think it was the weakest move ever?
See, I'm kind of on both sides. I think it was good because it showed player movement with the LeBron thing. LeBron has started with the movement, but I do like the competitive nature. Like, see, when we start talking about KD as a player, and they start listing all his accomplishments, and they start, he better than this guy because he actually won championships. Well, he didn't really win. I mean, Damian Lillard could have 2 championships if he decided to go to Golden State too. So how really if we start talking about that? So with KD, yeah, those 2 rings, but him winning the ring with Brooklyn is more important. Even for me, with LeBron, to me, the ring in Cleveland really put him up more so than the rings in Miami. Yeah. But like I said, the players, they'll still do that. I kind of think they weak move for the ability giving players more power. So it's like, it's two-sided for me.
Yeah. It's like, I would say this from my standpoint. I do think it was the weakest move ever. Do I think it's going to happen again? I was going to say no, but Neely made a good point. He said it depends on what somebody else do. If somebody can build another super team like Golden State, then the demand will say, hey, I need more players. So I'll just put it there. It depends on supply and demand. If there's another team that's dominating, let's say like you said, Neely, if the Clippers somehow sign a B-plus player next year. Let's say if Devin Booker become a free agent and say, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of losing. Trade me to the LA Clippers or something in 2 years, and you got those 3 guys, then somebody would have to do it. But I think it's not sexy anymore because Damian Lillard signed for the rest of his prime. You had Kawhi Leonard to say, hey, I got a golden ticket here to go win 2 or 3 championships with the Lakers. Nah, I'm good. Just give me a second star and let me go to the Clippers and try to compete with them. So you had 2 top players to do it.
Consider the team that might just that has the amazing draft run too. Like think if not Paul George, if James Harden, KD, and Russ had stayed together, some superstars is probably going to have to get together to beat them.
Serge,
right. And so like somebody was going if them boys would have figured it out and just played on the court and been good like that, somebody's going to have to play with somebody else to start to beat them, or they was going to keep running through you.
Exactly. And so I would say my last thing with the reason I look at KD move as the weakest move is kind of what Neely said, and I get what you're saying too, Stan, because both it's almost like you got an orange and an apple, both are fruit. Like which one you like the most, and that's kind of how it is. Which one you like, which one you don't like. In this case, when you're talking about what they did, what I would say is when you look at context though, when you look at the inner workings of what happened between the two. KD had his first 9 years with 2 future MVPs, a future five-time all defensive player. He played every last one of his 9 years with another all-star caliber all-star caliber player on his team. He had a great team, and he just couldn't get it done. Whereas when you look at LeBron was in Cleveland for the first 8 years, and his best players were Mo Williams, who is a 6'1" little guard that can have one good year where he made an all-star as a replacement all-star. Then you had Big Z, who was a center that was about a 12 and 10 a game guy who made one all-star, was his best players. And he was competing against, you got to think about how LeBron felt. He made it to the finals. He had to beat a Detroit team that team was truly on his last leg, but they were still really good with 4 or 5 good players on that team. Then the next year, Boston built that super team, and he get beat in 7 games by Boston in the second round. So he like, damn, I averaged 38 points and I scored 45 in game 7, and I still couldn't beat him. So then he come back the next year, and he got the same team, and he lose to Orlando team, who is a big team. They got 6'10" guys all across the board. Dwight Howard, Pietrus, what's the other guy named Turkoglu that you was talking about the other day, Liam? He got those big guys across the board.
That was a winnable series.
That was a winnable series. I agree with you. That was a winnable series, but the fact is that those big guys couldn't be guarded by those little Delonte West and Boobie Gibson and some of those little guards that Cleveland had. So at that point, he like, shit, we got to go get bigger. And so the next year, they went and got Antoine Jameson and some bigger guys to defend those, and then they ran up against Boston again. And this time you run up against Boston, Rondo is an all-star now. He's not the little Rondo from 2.5 years ago that was just starting. He's an all-star. So LeBron, then you got to think about who LeBron lost to in the finals in 2007. He lost to San Antonio. Three Hall of Famers. So at this point, he like, man, I got to go get with somebody. So I think he wanted to give away. He got with Bosh. So to say all that is just to say, I think his situation was more out of desperation. KD's situation was more out of, hey, man, fuck this. I'm just going to go here and grab a ring. Kind of like he did what Boogie Cousins did pretty much. It's just in a better light because he actually performed. So that's the difference. That's why I think KD move is a little weaker than LeBron James. And honestly, I would say LeBron James move is weak. Only reason why is because he knew Boston was getting older. And with Boston getting older, he could have waited a couple more years, and then he would have been coming out the East a year or two.
Let me tell you this, Kevin. Now, let's look back 3 years later.
Yep.
Main reason Kevin Durant left was style of play, right?
That's true.
Go take care of the ball. They hooped the way Kevin Durant always felt like he wanted to hoop.
Yep.
But Kevin Durant can hoop the ball 30 times a game. He never has. He never liked to. He likes to play basketball the right way.
Yep.
3 years later, Russell Westbrook still playing the same way he played when KD was there, the same way why KD left.
That's why I don't think it's bad to
But it's more so where he went.
Hold on. Style of play. How does Kyrie play?
Exactly like that. That's why I don't know how good they're going to play together.
Like style of play, but Kyrie plays the same damn. He dribbles to heaven. He dribbles the ball to heaven, and then he shoots some long jump shot. He takes out a bad shot. So when we talk about
not like Russell Westbrook.
Kyrie is bad, but he ain't as bad as Russell Westbrook.
He's a better shooter than Russell Westbrook.
He's a better shooter.
He's a better shooter. Look, so what Russell Westbrook, I understand, what's a bad shot for Russ might not be a bad shot for Kyrie.
And then also, too, Kendrick Perkins, this Stephen A. Smith interview that came out about KD and all of that.
Lying and saying he's coming back. Right.
Right. It really wasn't the Russell Westbrook practice. It was pretty much, it was a little bit more. He felt like he was, that OKC treated him like he was a kid, and he wanted to be, and feel like he was on his own. What it sounds like to me, Kevin Durant is swayed by how people think of him. Yep. He's swayed because of what Golden State did, how Draymond called him out. He was swayed.
I agree with that. He definitely.
I think all his moves are made by Super System. And the kicker factor is he probably teamed with Kyrie because they great friends, and he didn't have that friendship at Golden State. They treated him like he was a hired assassin, which that's what he was, a hired assassin. He didn't mix in with them. He wasn't cool. He wasn't buddies. And they said that aspect of it, he wasn't happy because he wasn't like a part of the team. Yeah. Well, you came to be a hired assassin. That's what you are. And so he says he wanted to team up with Kyrie, which is his best friend. So we'll see. I don't think it's more of a style of play type thing. So we'll see.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. What Stan said was some of the reasons it wasn't as weak to me later on as it was early. Because initially, the first year, I was just like, man, that's just a bitch move, man. Like LeBron and Kyrie did everything they could to beat this team coming back from 3 games and winning with 1 minute left in Game 7, and then you add the second best player in the world, and he had this team down 3-1. That's all I could see. But then the more I got into it, the more it was like, yeah, they needed Golden State because LeBron was. They needed KD because LeBron was going to continue to whoop their ass if they didn't have KD. And then two, I could see how KD game actually improved as far as becoming more efficient. Because you think about it, OKC, he was like a 47, 46, 48 shooter. In Golden State, dude was shooting like 52% shooting all jumpers. Like 52%. Like 40% from 3. So he became more efficient. And I could see that, so I kind of gave him a little pass. I still think it's a weak move. I think what KD should have did if he didn't like playing Russell Westbrook, to me, Stan, which would have gave him a pass, is exactly what Kawhi did today. Nearly, did I not tell you this like a couple of weeks ago? I said I would have been okay had KD went to LA, went to the Clippers, and said, "Hey, I want to build a team here to beat Golden State." That's pretty much what Kawhi just did. So I ain't got nothing to say about Kawhi. He built a team to beat LeBron and to beat these other teams.
Kawhi just won. Kawhi on the throne right now.
Yeah.
So it's a difference between you lost and you won.
Yeah, that's true. That's
to
true,
me,
Stan.
but
That's
to
true.
me,
That's
to
true.
me, KD could have went to any team in the league besides Golden State and Cleveland at that point in time, and I wouldn't have felt like, dude, why you run? Because your team, for one, already good enough. Now, if you just really don't like playing with Russell Westbrook, all right, fine, go to Washington with John Wall and them boys back to your crib, basically, and go win it with them then. Like, I would have felt fine with any team in the league except for Golden State. That's the only reason they look back, because you just looked like you was honestly good enough to beat Golden State, and everybody waiting to see you and LeBron, jostle it off again to figure out who's really the best player in the league. Then you go run to the best team in the league where you obviously finna stomp LeBron out, like you went and got all your big brothers for you and LeBron's fight. Like, come on, like that's why it looked bad to me.
I heard Doug Godley say yesterday, this dude pissed me off, so I'm listening to his radio show, and he had Chris Bouchard on. And he made the comment, Chris Bouchard said, well, KD, he was talking about KD and LeBron. He said, KD did this and that. And he said, well, KD had to do it because KD didn't have, it was like 3 against 1 when he played against Golden State because he didn't have any help, and Russell Westbrook couldn't make shots, and what's the guy you hate, Liam, the defensive guard that can't ever shoot anything? Roberson.
Man, Andre Roberson.
Yeah, he said Roberson couldn't make a jumper. He was saying all this, but then when he said all KD needed was somebody so he could play LeBron even, so he could beat LeBron and show he the best player in the world. And I'm thinking, and I'm waiting for Chris Bouchard to really stump this dude. And Chris Bouchard just said, yeah. And I'm thinking no, he went to Golden State. Then it was 4 against 2 versus LeBron. But he didn't give LeBron that same excuse. He gave KD the excuse of not having players. But when the shoe was on the other foot and KD had 3 other All-NBA players and Iggy, he tried to make it seem like it was an even series when LeBron played KD in the finals. And that shit really pissed me off. I'm like, dude, man, they got to stop the bias with this LeBron shit. So I just don't get how people don't see it both ways when it comes to it. Just like today, just like when the Lakers gave up 3 first-round picks, everybody's like, oh, the Lakers mortgaging their future. The Clippers just gave up 6 first-round picks. And niggas calling Jerry West a genius.
But they potentially did it for 2 players. Like, for the most part, you did it to get Kawhi. Like, if the Lakers had did that and got LeBron and Anthony Davis at the same time, well, nobody would have said that.
Nah, that's true.
Yeah,
good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's valid. Okay, the last question, and then we'll get off this thing, is I need to know who your best team in the East, your best team in the West after these trades, who you think gonna win the East, who you think gonna win the West, and then I need 3 contenders from both sides, 3 of the top contenders from both sides. Go ahead, Stan.
All right. Best team in the East. Man, I guess I'm going to go with Philly, but I I ain't real confident in that. Not as confident as y'all are. I say Philly, and it's hard, man. I hate to say the Clippers, but it's just, if I'm being unbiased and being honest, I got to think the Clippers the best team in the West right now, with my Lakers right behind them, depending on how we fill out the rest of our roster, too. But right now, off top, I'll have to say the Clippers. 3 contenders from the East, Philly, Boston, Milwaukee. From the West, the 2 LA teams. And I hate Houston, man, but I guess Houston. Sleeper, Portland.
Yeah, Portland. Yeah.
Portland.
Yeah.
Portland.
Yeah.
And I think Utah was much improved too.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go. We're gonna go 3. You did say 3. I'm gonna go the Lakers, the Clippers, and the.
No, you said the
and
Clippers gonna win. So who's your 3 teams other than the Clippers that's gonna continue?
Other than the Clippers, okay. Other than the Clippers, Lakers, Trailblazers, and just because I don't like Houston, I'm gonna say the Jazz.
Okay. Go ahead, Liam.
But it's probably really Houston. Though.
Okay. Go ahead, Liam.
Out the East, the 3 teams out the East, Philly, Milwaukee, Boston. Philly coming out the East. If I want to add a team behind them, I would probably. I'm trying to think. I'll probably go with Indiana. I think Toronto still makes the playoffs, but Indiana after that. The West, I got the Lakers out the West because I think the matchup with AD, Clippers have a defense, but they don't have a big for AD. I think he's gonna dominate them. But the other 3 teams in the West, I got Denver, I got the Clippers, and I got Portland. And I got the Jazz behind them, and I think Houston like a 6 seed.
Gotcha.
Because Denver is deep, and they add in Michael Porter Jr.
Right.
And so, of course, with the Jazz edition. So
Michael Porter Jr. just got hurt again.
Yeah,
he just breaks
that dude there, man.
That's precautionary. I'm sure they just being extra cautious with him now.
Yeah.
He might be that person that's fragile though.
Yeah, but
go ahead, Go ahead.
You can finish your thought, Lynn.
Finish up talking.
No, I was just saying that his back was hurting, but he could have played last year. But they just redshirt. So I got Nuggets, Clippers, and Portland.
Okay.
Lakers.
Yeah, me and Liam's teams are identical on both sides. So out of the West, the 4 teams total, I got the Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, and Portland. Portland edition, like as good as Dame them played last year, which was honestly a surprise to me, without Nurkic, and then they added Whiteside to like the perfect player, honestly, to just cover up the misses from Dame and Caesar and get him one more shot. Like if nothing else, that move by default kind of bumped them a spot or 2, and then of course Golden State, players teams like that gonna end up falling. Out of the East, I do think it'll be Philly, Boston, Milwaukee, and the Pacers. In the finals, I would have the Lakers and the 76ers. I do think, again, I think LeBron still looked like LeBron up until that injury. I mean, there was nothing that was making me say, all right, all of a sudden don't feel like LeBron the best player in the league, besides he don't play defense all the time. So, and then I didn't get to see him try to do it in the playoffs to see if he was going to be able to still defend. So I still got LeBron clearly in the top 3 players in the league. I always felt like Anthony Davis was the player that's going to take that threshold once he was healthy. Honestly, I think he was healthy. Then he had half a year off. LeBron fresh, with no playoffs. I think the Lakers going to be super straight. I do think they're going to, run into the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals, but I just feel like LeBron and AD would be better as long as them role players are straight. I do got Philly. I'm expecting just by, natural progression, Philly should start to get better. The only thing Ben Simmons really needs to prove on is get a solid jumper. This dude needs to be putting up 1,000 jumpers a day somewhere right now. And then Embiid to stay healthy. I think they'll be straight. And like we said, I don't think Milwaukee necessarily got better. So unless Greek Freak comes back with a whole nother element and he's just going to take over the East or something like that, I don't think Milwaukee can beat them as far as the star power that they got, especially with the addition of Horford and all of them, though.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, and my picks are the West. I got the Lakers. Of course, like you said, Nearly, LeBron James, the first 34 games showed me he was still the best player in the league. When he came back, it took him like 10 or 11 games. By that time, they was out the playoff to kind of get his rhythm back and to get back in shape. And like the last like 8, 9 games that he played last year, he showed me that he was still LeBron. He averaged like 30 points, like 9 rebounds, 9 assists, and he was still playing the same way. But they weren't winning because they didn't have Ingram and Lonzo out there. So I think the Lakers will still take it. My next three teams are the Clippers, Utah, and my sleeper team will still be Denver to come out. I think Denver will still be better than Portland, and I think with Golden State having to play so many games without Clay and Curry usually get hurt about 10 or 12 games a year. I think they're going to be between the sixth and the seventh, eighth seed when Clay get back, and they're going to have to work their way back up. In the East, I got Philly to win it, hands down. I got Milwaukee, Indiana, and my sleeper pick is Orlando. I think Orlando is going to be my sleeper pick next year, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of teams. I'm telling you, man, y'all gonna be hurt when I prove y'all wrong, man. Y'all gonna be hurt when
Hey man, I wish I had a laughing emoji I could put up.
Right.
Y'all gonna be hurt when I prove y'all wrong, man. But I don't see what y'all see in Boston. I think the key to them winning was defense, and they only won like 47 games last year. I can't really see them improving on that. Yeah, exactly.
They won with less talent. They won more games with less talent without
the year before.
But come on, Liam. Kyrie played like 70 of those games, man, when they won all those games.
70?
Yeah,
Did he play like 70 games?
He played a lot in the regular season.
What did
he
play,
got
66?
hurt He got hurt a little bit before the playoffs went.
Let me look up see how many he played.
Because it was a surprise run. Everybody thought they was going to fall off.
We like to get the facts right. If you listen,
I would think he played at least 50 something. I don't know if he played 70.
They were better. They were a better team without Kyrie. That's a fact. So if I take away, sometimes when you take away players from teams, they get better.
Yeah.
The Rockets traded away Dwight Howard and got better. They didn't get nothing. They didn't get nothing else in return. The year they
but you
they
can't be
didn't get nothing
comparing
else.
Kyrie impact to Dwight Howard when he had a bad back.
But listen, I'm saying some teams work better with chemistry. It's not about just the talent and the players you put out there. It's how they fit. And
but I think that happened the second year when Kyrie came back. Yes, they were worse than the year before, but the same year when Kyrie was there, Boston was looking like the team that was going to come out the East, and Kyrie got hurt, and everybody thought they was going to fall off. And they still played good.
No, you're right, Lynn. He played 60 games. He played 60 games.
This nigga ain't never played no 70 games.
But Kemba, it ain't like Kemba done shown us he's this great leader, and that chemistry just finna strike and be great. Kemba been a man on the team by himself. Him and Tatum might clash. Like Kemba want the ball, Tatum want the ball. Like it ain't nothing to say that Kemba is this ultimate team player that's finna come and mold this all together either. Like I feel like talent wise, they at least third over there. Like now if they can put it all together with Brad Stevens, yeah, they can really be a force, but I don't think it's much more than that. I don't think Kemba just going to make this some miracle team. I don't think they're going to be nothing too special, though.
And, Leon, that defensive center you're talking about, they drafted last year from Texas Tech. I hope he's ready to play because if they depending on Cantor to play 35 minutes a game and defend, they just going to be worse from that standpoint.
Yeah, I can't. But the dude, that's his game. That's what I'm saying. It's his game. A lot of times, though, y'all get so caught up in names. I always tell you, it's players under. When I kept telling you right now, I said Zubac need to play. Zubac can play. He got some skill. It's things that players can do. That's all he can do is block and rebound. So
no, that's what I'm saying. If he's ready to do that, then Boston might be straight because I'm basing this. Most of me basing this off is like they lost Baines, if I'm not mistaken, and they lost Marcus Morris. And they lost Horford.
Marcus Morris is to me now. Marcus Morris is a big because he can stretch.
That's a strong back line. Man, I keep updating my damn free agency list because I'm hoping the Lakers sign this dude, man.
Yeah, and he got some.
Yeah, Marcus Morris big. Yeah, he perfect. He perfect.
Yeah.
You want him?
Well,
he got some dogs.
I think we had a good conversation today, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for giving me an hour and a half of your time. I know